Today we're diving into a fascinating story of innovation that was born out of sheer necessity. It's all about how one of the world's biggest companies was built, not with tons of money, but with a simple physical card. This is the story of the Kanban system, a method that didn't just tweak manufacturing, it basically built an empire.
So, you gotta ask, how on earth did they do it? I mean, at a time when competitors were pouring money into computers and complex forecasting, Toyota put its faith in a piece of paper. The answer, it turns out, was in completely rethinking what efficiency even meant.
To really get the genius behind Kanban, you have to picture what Japan was like right after World War II. Toyota was facing a massive problem. How could they possibly go up against the sheer power of American car companies? They had less money, less space, fewer resources, you name it.
And this really shows the clash of two completely different worlds. You had the American push system, which was all about going big. You'd forecast demand, make huge batches of parts, and just push them through the factory. But that meant you needed these giant, expensive warehouses just packed with inventory. Toyota couldn't do that. They didn't have the cash. They couldn't afford a single wasted part. They needed a system that was lean, low cost, and just ruthlessly efficient.
So what was their answer? Well, they flipped that whole logic completely on its head. Instead of pushing products based on a guess, they designed a system that pulled parts based on actual real-time demand. This revolutionary idea was called just-in-time. And the core philosophy was just so elegant and simple. Don't make anything extra, period. Don't waste time, don't waste materials, don't waste space. Every single thing that happened on the production line was triggered by a real, immediate need. This became the foundation for the entire Toyota production system, and it all revolved around fighting what they called muda, the Japanese concept for wastefulness. That was the enemy.
Okay, so to make this all work, Toyota built it on two main pillars. The first one is Jidoka, which you can think of as automation with a human touch. The idea here is that you build quality in. You don't just inspect it at the end. So if any machine senses a problem, it stops immediately. This is huge because it prevents one tiny mistake from snowballing into a mountain of bad parts, which would be a total disaster.
And the second pillar is just-in-time itself. This is all about flow. Each step in the production line only makes what the very next step needs, right when it needs it. And just like that, you eliminate the need for those massive, costly warehouses full of parts that are just sitting around collecting dust.
So, how did they pull off this complicated dance in a super busy factory without a single computer? They used the Kanban card. This simple piece of paper was the messenger, the little signal that made the whole just-in-time system actually work. It was a visual, foolproof way to communicate.
You can think of each card as a mini work order. It has all the critical info right there on it. Exactly what part you need, its ID number, how many to make, and where it's supposed to go next. There's no room for confusion. Anyone on the factory floor could just look at a Kanban card and know exactly what they needed to do.
Okay, so let's walk through how this pull system actually works. It's a pretty elegant loop. First, a worker on the assembly line uses a part. When they do, the card attached to it, the withdrawal Kanban, gets taken off. That card then acts as an order. It's taken to the previous station, basically saying, hey, we need one more of these. So a worker there grabs a replacement part and attaches the card. And here's the magic. Taking that replacement part frees up its card, the production Kanban, which now becomes a signal for the factory to make exactly one new part to replace the one that was just taken. It's a continuous cycle, where real demand literally pulls production through the whole factory.
Now, this hyper-efficient system sounds perfect, right? Well, not exactly. It isn't without its risks. In fact, its greatest strengths, like having almost no extra inventory, are also its greatest weaknesses. It's a classic double-edged sword.
I mean, look at this. Every single benefit has a flip side. Having minimal inventory is fantastic for saving money, but if one supplier has a delay, the entire factory can grind to a halt. The visual signals are great for clear communication, but man, they put a ton of pressure on workers to be perfect. One mistake can cause a bottleneck for everybody down the line. And that demand-driven flow is great for preventing waste, but it makes it really tough to suddenly squeeze in an urgent, unexpected order.
So for decades, companies kind of wrestled with this trade-off. How do you get all that amazing efficiency of Kanban without making your whole operation so fragile? Well, today, technology has the answer. It's all about evolving the system to get the best of both worlds.
And the modern answer to Kanban's brittleness is software, specifically something called advanced production schedulers.
These are digital tools that work hand in hand with Kanban to make the system smarter, way more flexible, and a lot more resilient.
This tech basically gives the system a brain. Schedulers can analyze data to predict a sudden spike in demand, something a physical card could never do. They can digitally set priorities, so an urgent job doesn't get lost in the shuffle. They can even visualize workloads to make sure you're not overloading people or machines. It creates this incredibly powerful hybrid system. You get the lean, clean efficiency of Kanban, but it's supercharged with the predictive power of modern software.
So when you boil it all down, the true genius of Kanban was this one massive shift in thinking. It moved the entire world away from the wasteful old model of making things just in case they might be needed to this lean, responsive model of making them just in time.
And that philosophy is everywhere now, from how we develop software to how we manage our own to-do lists. It kind of leaves you with a really interesting question, right? Where in your own work, or even your life, are you still pushing tasks around? And what could you get done if you started pulling them only when they were truly needed? Thanks for tuning in.